etc., will always have a set of challenges and issues to be dealt with. And it is very important for us not to lose perspective, because the journey which we have come through so far in the last 80 years or 78 years since independence has been no less commendable. And that should give us hope about the challenges that we are going to face. Of course, context keeps changing. The world is always, in fact, when they say, there is a story that the river is the same. If you go to bathe in the river yesterday and the same person goes to bathe in the river, they say the same person goes to the river to bathe the same river. It's not true. From one day to the other, the person is not the same and the river is not the same. So even though it may appear to be the same, things are never constant, they keep constantly shifting. So in that sense, the environment in which we traverse the last 30 years will not be the same as the next 30 years. Arguably, they are even more challenging. So I'll quickly run through, I will not walk through all the slides. I want to give some time for you to ask some questions. So not all the slides that I'm carrying with me I'll be able to show, but we'd like to focus on the medium-term challenges as well. Very quickly, so the current growth rate is very good, 7.8%. First quarter this year, much higher than expected. And it is not just a story of deflator, it is a story of economic activity. And first 2 months of the current quarter also are shaping up very well. And in fact, we may be close to achieving the 7% year-on-year growth in real terms in the second quarter as well. So far, so good. In fact, the growth rates we have achieved in the last 4 years since COVID ended give rise to the possibility that we may have reached a higher level of growth than we anticipated once COVID ended, because the lagged effects of all the important structural changes that happened in the economy in the last 11 years are probably beginning to pay off in terms of a much better growth inflation trade-off than we may have anticipated. And we are doing better than other countries, not just in the immediate first quarter, but over post-COVID recovery. If you look at what's happening in the immediate neighborhood or in the Western countries today, when, for example, there have been multiple changes of government in several countries, prime ministers, etc. I think we have had both economic and political stability in the last several years, combined with fiscal stability, and all of that is giving us a good foundation and platform to continue on the growth path, especially if the current trade-related uncertainties get resolved reasonably quickly, as I expect them to. Then I think we will have the growth momentum to support even more reforms that we need to undertake, not just at the union government level, but more importantly, in fact, at the state government level. This is a simple chart of the where the growth is coming from. In the first quarter, we had manufacturing and services contributing to growth. Agriculture naturally in summer months is a bit slow, but it should continue to grow more than it did in the first quarter in the coming quarters. Our distribution of growth is very interesting and very reassuring. 60% comes from consumption. 30% comes from capital formation, 21% comes from exports, and 23% goes towards imports. So we have a large domestic economy which insulates us from what is going on in the outside world to some extent. That is why when we discuss the impact of tariffs, while one shouldn't trivialize the impact on affected sectors, from a systemic perspective or a macro perspective, the impact is relatively marginal. That is not to say that there will not be second and third round effects if the tariff persists in terms of sentiment impact, capital formation, etc. But purely in export terms, given the fact that we are a country which relies on domestic demand, the impact will be less than it would be for countries which have a much greater share of exports in their GDP. Agriculture and rural economy both remain very bright spots. Rural wages are rising, very rapidly, as you can see on the right side. The area of the cultivation has picked up, water levels are very adequate, so we will see a much bigger contribution of agriculture to value added in the coming quarters, which will also offset to some extent the external trade related impact which will come in the coming quarters from the tariff if they persist. But as I said, I hope that they will dissipate soon. Industrial sector is doing well. We are providing you multiple indicators. I don't need to walk you through every single chart on this slide in the interest of time. They are self-explanatory. By and large, whether it is the Purchasing Managers Index, which is based on feedback from you, the e-way bill generation, the growth rates of 22% this year in the first 4 months compared to last year, overall energy consumption, they all are stable to growing moderately. Same is the case with services sector, railway freight data, air and sea cargo handling, and the levels of confidence in the services sector, they all are in good shape. So in fact, I would like to point out that we in the Department of Economic Affairs, we bring out a monthly economic review around the 3rd or the 4th week of the month. I would like you to look at it. It's in the Department of Economic Affairs website, where we try to cover a lot of indicators that we follow to make sure that we are on top of how the economy is developing, so that we can flag areas of concern to policymakers as soon as we notice them. In this slide, what we are trying to show is how is the rural demand in the current year compared to the pre-COVID average and compared to last financial year, which is on the right side. On the left side, you see recent quarters or recent months, depending on data availability. In general, obviously, you're not going to remember these individual numbers. But broadly speaking, you see more green than amber or red, which is a good thing. Which means rural demand indicators are doing better than last year or the pre-COVID average, whether it is two-wheeler, three-wheeler sales, tractor sales, etc. Obviously, the story doesn't look similar if you look at urban demand, because there is more amber than green and one red as well. So that is, on the surface, there is some weakness in urban demand. Post-COVID, in 22-23 and 23-24, we thought it is going to be, we were talking more about urban demand doing better than rural demand. Now in the last 1 or 2 years, we see the opposite. But that is where I think the government's few measures taken in the last 2 budgets, whether it is the huge tax cut, GST relief, and the employment-linked incentive scheme, all these 3 developments, along with the fact that food inflation is very low, which is giving more disposable income in the hands of the households, these things are going to contribute to the pickup in urban demand, which is on the surface looking weaker. But I would also invite you to look below the surface or beneath the surface. Much of the urban consumption may also be now getting diverted or shifting towards non-listed companies or through UPI payments to even smaller enterprises which are not captured in the quarterly data coming from the Ministry of Statistics. If you look at this coming from the National Payment Corporation website, you can see that every single category, whether it is utilities, packages, candies, cigar shops, bakeries, drugstore, eating places and restaurants, the growth rate is at least 20% annualized in the last 13 months. And in many cases, the growth rate is well ahead of 30%. So in other words, we may not be measuring urban consumption as well as we would like to by relying only on the data coming from listed fast-moving consumer goods companies. Underlying urban demand will be more resilient than we think it is. And the other thing which we all are interested in is looking at how much bank credit is flowing into industry. On the surface, bank credit flow to small and medium enterprises is doing very well. Sorry, micro and small enterprises, which you see on the bottom left. Credit to industry, I think the 2 charts are repeat of each other. My apologies for that. So top left and bottom right are the same data. Basically, credit to industry seems like it is growing at a rate similar to last 5 years of average. But again, there are some very interesting and important structural changes happening in the economy, which you see on the right side. Today, more and more Indian companies are able to raise funds from the capital market more than they used to do from the banks. If you look at RBI data, and I don't expect that all of you will do so, but if you look at RBI data, Handbook of Statistics, it shows funds raised by Indian industry from the banks, non-banks, capital markets, commercial paper issuance. The average growth rate in the last 6 years is 28.5% per annum, year after year after year. So in other words, growth in bank credit is not the only parameter of lending appetite or borrowing appetite or investment. Overall, resource mobilized in the economy has been growing at a very, very good rate in the last 6 years, which is also a sign of a healthy economy, by the way. Now, this is where I think all of us are worried about, and I will take some time to talk about the tariff here. Yes, not only the original reciprocal tariff of 25% plus the penal tariff of 25%, both were not anticipated. I still believe that geopolitical circumstances may have led to the second 25% tariff, but considering recent developments in the last couple of weeks and so on, I do believe, I have no particular basis to say so, I just my intuition, that the penal tariff will not be there beyond November 30th. I mean, it's not a statement of based on any concrete indicator or evidence. It's my hope that given the recent developments which we see in terms of both countries finding an off-ramp and reaching out to each other, and including the important negotiator being in India in the first 2 days of this week, I do believe that there will be a resolution in the next couple of months on the penal tariff and hopefully on the reciprocal tariff also. So whatever impact that is there because of the affected sectors, which by the way is 45% of overall exports to the US, and in the first 5 months of the current financial year, we have already exported half the amount we exported last year to the US, etc. Keeping all those things in mind, we hope that the impact will be limited to the current financial year. Of course, if it continues into the next financial year, there will be an impact on growth, but it's hard to quantify these things because it is not just the actual export loss, which is very easy to calculate. That's a very small sum. But naturally, it will have implications for sentiment, investments, employment in those industries, and therefore consumption, etc., which is very difficult to quantify and it will be very imprecise. But nonetheless, our hope is that our exports have been growing quite well. Between services and goods, we are now exporting close to $850 billion a year, and we are on top. We are on track to reach $1 trillion of exports, and an economy of the size of $4 trillion, it has 25% of GDP, which is a very healthy number. We are not a closed economy. We are an open economy in that sense. We will not be as open as small economies, but given that we are a large one, 25% in terms of export, and if you include imports, it is close to 48% or 50% of GDP. And even if you exclude petroleum, crude oil imports and petroleum product exports, it is close to 25% of GDP between imports and exports. So we are an open economy, and therefore what happens in the external sector will have spillover effects. And that's both good and bad. So, but even without tariffs, our export growth performance will now have to work doubly harder compared to, let's say, between 2003 and 2008, because global growth is going to be a challenge. So that is where we have to work hard in terms of innovation, in terms of reaching new geographies, in terms of investing in R&D for the long term. So the rising tide of global demand, which lifted all boats in the first decade of the new millennium, will not be there. The tide will not be rising. Therefore, we have to create the momentum for export growth. And that is where I expect the industry and chambers to work doubly harder in terms of improving our competitiveness. I just want you to think about how the Indian pharma companies dealt with the global trade-related intellectual property and services agreement, TRIPS agreement. in 1995. It appeared as if the bottom was removed from the Indian pharma exports, but almost all of them doubled or tripled their investment in R&D and recaptured the market share. So what the Indian pharma companies did in 1995 in response to the Tariffs agreement is a case study which we all need to go back and look at. And how did they do it? The most important thing I remember is the tripling of investment, doubling and tripling of investment in R&D. There is no substitute for a long horizon mindset, okay? And that is what we need to do now in the industry. That is the ask we have from the government side in response to the many asks that the President had in his opening remarks. And our external deficit, our FDI numbers, there again, I think, yes, there is much more that the policy establishment has to do, but at the gross level, our FDI numbers are quite good. And this year's run rate at $25 billion in the first quarter is looking at a run rate of $100 billion, which is a good thing, but naturally, companies have been also repatriating their invested capital in the last few years because we have a very buoyant capital market until recently. And because of that, there has been profit taking as well, which is a good thing. It is not a sign of concern. Profit taking shows that there is a profit to be made in the first place, and Indian market provides easy exit, convertibility, etc. All those things are there. They are important boxes to be ticked. So, as long as gross inflows remain high and keep moving higher, we shouldn't be overly concerned. But that said, we do want to make India part of global value chain, and therefore whatever policy can do, we will continue to examine them for improving our FDI inflows, how to plug India into global value chains. Those are areas of priority. But by and large, external parameters also are looking good, and there are enough signs that companies are looking at India very closely. These are just few of the headlines that we have seen in the last few years. Key priority areas: continuing to invest from the government side on infrastructure, incentivizing private investment, ease of doing business, systematic deregulation, continued formalization through digitization, boosting agricultural growth. These are the policy priorities. I'll just quickly talk about them. Our capital formation actually has done very well in the last 20 years or so, 25 years. In spite of the banking crisis we have done as well as Vietnam has done in terms of capital formation. In constant prices and current prices, we have done reasonably well. So, India has been investing in productive capacity, and government used to spend only 3.1 lakh crores in FY19, the 1 year before COVID, and now last year 10.5 lakh crores, and that is an increase of more than 3.4 times. And this investment by the government hasn't come at the expense of the overall public sector, which also has grown from 11.1 lakh crores to 19.8 lakh crores budgeted this year. On the right side, you see, of course, the various sectors to which government investment goes, the big ones. But by and large, this commitment to public investment is one of the important contributors to the fact that we have been able to grow at a much faster rate post-COVID than anticipated. And these are all the important tangible markers or milestones or achievements in infrastructure creation. Simply want to draw your attention to the fact that the number of airports in India built in the last 11 years is more than what we built in the first 7 decades since independence. And the port handling capacity has improved tremendously, that we even do better than East Asian ports. And that's a no mean achievement to be able to do better than East Asian ports in terms of handling efficiencies or in terms of highways construction. If you look at the overall investment trends, imports of capital goods, imports of production of IIP capital goods and infrastructure goods, etc., whether it is looking at the financial year basis or looking at the first 4 months of the financial year, I think the trends are good. Indian industry, both public and private sector, are continuing to invest along with government, especially state governments this year, are picking up on their capital investment compared to last year. Manufacturing share of GDP in constant prices is about 18%. Much of the hand-wringing we see in the media or in public commentary about manufacturing share of GDP going down is because of the failure to understand that price index keeps rising faster in agriculture because of annual guaranteed price increases. Manufacturing prices in fact don't rise that much. Manufacturing is subject to competition, subject to technological improvements, etc. So manufacturing goods prices rise much slower, which is what you see on the left side. That is why in GDA share, agricultural share keeps rising, manufacturing share appears to keep going down, and that is largely the price effect. If you remove the price effect, manufacturing share is, I'm not saying it is doing very well, but definitely it is not declining, it is constant. We need to rise manufacturing. Some of you may have picked up the copy of the book, Patrick McGee's book, Apple in China. And in that book, Patrick McGee cites a Chinese government document to say, no manufacturing, no nation. So I think it's important because manufacturing is the basis on which services sector grows. Once there is a factory in a location, you get banking, you get insurance, you get hospitals, you get schools, you get multiple services, childcare, everything springs up, or sporting outlets, social clubs. So services sector grows on the back of the manufacturing sector. India was fortunate to be able to have a service sector growth in the 1990s onwards because of software and electronics, but by and large services does very well on the back of manufacturing, other than electronic services of course. So therefore manufacturing is critical and we need to do more, but I want to get the facts right in terms of why some hand-wringing about the declining share of manufacturing in GDA is misplaced. It is driven by price indices rather than by actual decline in manufacturing. But critical to manufacturing growth is the fortunes of micro, small and medium enterprises. And we are doing quite well. In fact, this government in the last 11 years has spent so much of effort on formalizing the MSME sector. And one of the ways of formalization is, of course, the receivables, access to finance. On the right side, what I'm showing to you is an important success story which you need to learn about. The receivables exchanges, some of you will be very familiar with it. From nothing almost in FY18, 2.3 lakh crores are discounted to receivables exchanges, which means SMEs get immediate money for the goods they supply to large enterprises, whether in public sector or private sector. So more state governments, more union government ministries and more private sector participants have to discount the bills in receivables exchanges. This is what will enable our MSMEs to get payments on time. And MSME cluster development programs and the PLI for white goods are seeing more MSME participants coming up. And if you remember the previous slide I showed you, credit growth to micro and small enterprises is running at more than 20%. And therefore, there is a very important movement that is happening in the formalization of the micro, small and medium enterprise sector, which is a contribution to GDP growth as well. And we are also strengthening markets for our MSME manufacturers. New agreements with the UK, and there is a bilateral investment treaty with Israel that's concluded, and ongoing negotiations with Oman, European Union, Bahrain, etc. will open up new markets for our businesses. And that's important. Geographical diversification, product diversification both matter for export growth. And this is one area where I think governments in the country have to do on their part, which is continuing to make it easier to operate and to stay compliant. Instead of using the words ease of doing business, I feel that it is about ease of being honest. The regulatory and compliance framework across the country has made it difficult for Indian households, individuals and businesses to be honest. It's become more costlier to be honest, and therefore it is tempting to take shortcuts. And that is where deregulation, simplification, consolidation, third-party certifications, lengthening the duration of licenses, etc. All these things will make it less costly to be honest. And honesty is the bedrock of trust between individuals between individuals and businesses, and between the private sector and the public sector. Once honesty is established, easy to be honest, trust builds up, and trust leads to scale. So for Indian economy to scale up, one of the reasons is that sanctity of contracts is important. All these things start from making it easier to operate, making it easier to comply, making it easier to stay honest, so that the rule of law and the rule and sanctity of contracts can be accepted and honored. And that is why I think much work has to be done. We have done a lot of work in the last 11 to 12 years in terms of ease of doing business, decriminalization, but this movement has to continue both in the union government and the state government level. I'm happy to let you know that two high-level committees have been formed at the union government level on deregulation. You must be aware of it, under the former cabinet secretary, Mr. Rajiv Gauba. There is two informal groups of ministers looking at deregulation thoroughly, and there is an ongoing initiative with deregulation on state government areas. So in other words, deregulation is not about making us a free-for-all society, but it's about ensuring that it is easier for businesses to focus on their core competence, which is to run businesses, rather than using their limited bandwidth, especially for small and micro enterprises. Large ones can outsource compliance to other agencies, but it is the small ones that have a problem. Their limited bandwidth gets used up in compliance, and therefore, if we have to grow manufacturing, we have to grow SMEs. If we have to grow SMEs, the state has to make it easier for them to grow, and that is the entire raison d'etre of deregulation. Agriculture actually in India is not an industry or a sector of the past. It is still a sector of the future. It can add 0.5 to 0.7% to GDP growth. If we are able to emulate the growth rates you see in allied services on the right side, allied agricultural sector, if we can replicate them in the traditional crops, then the contribution of agriculture to GDP growth can go up by another 0.5% or 0.7%. And while our productivity growth is good, it is still trailing below the productivity growth rates in agriculture in other economies, in other countries around the world. Many steps have been announced in the last two budgets, in July 2024 and January 2025. Micro irrigation, area under micro irrigation has gone up by 3x in the last 10 years or so. But we need to do more in terms of bringing area under irrigation, and like to surface water compared to groundwater. This is where I think regional